Hello everyone, welcome back to another new video. Today I will be showing you another brilliant chess puzzle where white can win a pawn endgame in one of the most unexpected ways. In the following position, white is a pawn up and black also has an unprotected pawn on h4, so it seems that the best move for white is to just play king takes h4 with two extra pawns. This looks completely winning, but black can play the move pawn to e5. Now, pawn to d5 allows king to f5, and white would have to sacrifice most of his pawns in order to stop black's pass d pawn, so white plays pawn takes c5, but after king takes c5, white's d6 pawn is about to fall, and king to g5 is just met by pawn to f6 check, preventing white's king from entering black's position. White can try to break through with pawn to g4 with the idea of g5 and g6. But black can play the quiet move pawn to f6, taking control of g5, and after white trades the h-pawn for black's f-pawn, the position is amazingly a draw even if black doesn't have the d-pawn. This is because after white plays pawn to g6, black's king can just wait on g8 and h8, and whenever white's king gets to f7, black will take on g6, and white can either be left with doubled rook pawns and a draw, or allow black to get a draw by stalemate. Because of this, white simply has no way to make progress despite being two pawns up. If white plays king to g4 instead of taking on e5, black will win both of white's d-pawns, and even without black's d7 and f6 pawns the game is still a draw since white's h4 pawn is also a rook pawn and doesn't affect the position at all. It seems that there is no way for white to win in the starting position. But this is all just an illusion, as white can actually win with the brilliant move king to g4, after black plays pawn to e5, because white's king is controlling f5 white can play pawn to d5, and after pawn to e4 king to f4 pawn to e3, it seems that black is still going to draw this game as after king takes e3 king to e5, black will once again win both of white's d-pawns and get the king back to the king side with a draw. But as always, white already has a reply ready with the amazing move pawn to g4, threatening pawn to g5 mate, and after black takes the pawn on g3 with en passant and white recaptures back, it turns out that black's king is completely trapped on f6 thanks to white's double d and h pawns, and after pawn to e2 pawn to g4, white will be able to win the game right after black gets a new queen with pawn to g5 checkmate. As a final note, if black had played pawn to h3 after king to g4, white can simply play pawn to g3, and after pawn to e5 pawn to d5 pawn to e4, white can just play king to f4 and advance the g-pawn with a checkmate before black can even promote. If you want to see more brilliant chess puzzles, be sure to like and subscribe for more. I will see you all in my next video. Goodbye.